Sports Highlights with your hosts Jeff Waddell, Coach Jay Sircosta, and featuring the 1992 Woodsfield Redskins. We'll be right back with Coach Sircosta and Jeff.
Let Swiss Lands Realty help you find what you need in a home, commercial property, or open land. How about a ranch-style home with a view? Or this ranch located close to State Route 78. Here's a basement home for you to finish as you wish. This one is a fisherman's dream. A cottage a little more than a stone's throw from Sunfish Creek and the Ohio River. If complete seclusion sounds good to you, you'll love this 41 acres waiting for you with a camper and barn. Adjoining Wayne National Forest, you can ride four-wheelers or horses in the trails, sit by a peaceful creek, or fish in the pond. This barn in an old log house is located on several wooded acres with some tillable ground for farming. Secluded yet close to town, this ranch-style home comes complete with appliances and furnishings, with a beautiful creek and woods to enjoy nature's best. Call Swiss Lands Realty today if you're looking for property or have property to sell. That's Swiss Lands Realty, 472-0614.
Hello and welcome once again to Woodsfield Sports Highlights. Coach, the winning streak's over, and I guess the so-called pressure's off. How do you think your team's going to respond after your first loss?
Well, I think that remains to be seen, Jeff. We did have a 19-game regular season win streak. I don't know that was a lot of pressure on this particular group, because that spanned over 3 years. But it remains to be seen as to how they'll come back after a loss. I think that's a sign of a true champion and a winner when they can bounce back after a loss. So we feel that we have a lot of winners and a lot of champions, so we hope that will be the case this week.
Okay, Coach, as we've talked many times, you got to have a lot of luck when you go 10-0, and you got to have a good bit of talent, and things have to fall into place. And, we've had a lot of good seasons, a lot of good teams with 1 or 2 losses, and we've won a lot of championships. It's not fun when you lose, but you get a little satisfaction in knowing that the team that you got beat by this week is a very good, sound team. Plus, they may not lose a game the rest of the year. Plus, a little bit of satisfaction. I don't know if it's satisfaction or what you call it, in that we didn't play that great of a ball game. So if we had played up the capability, we'd have probably fared better against them. How do you explain we had such a letdown, or things just kind of, I don't know if you call it a letdown, they just kind of disintegrated on us?
Well, first of all, you're right, Jeff. It's not fun when you lose. It's much more fun when you win, naturally. And in fact, this is the first time we've done this show in a losing cause, because the only other loss we had was in the playoffs, and we didn't do a show directly after the playoffs. So it's tough when you lose. It really is. It's tough on the players. It's tough on the coaches. I know it's tough on the fans. No one likes to lose, but you also have to face reality. We knew that 19-game win streak may go to 20, may go to 21 or 25, but sooner or later it was going to end somewhere down the line. So maybe in a way it's good that, not good that we lost, but good that maybe a little bit of that pressure, so to speak, is off. We did lose to a fine football team, and that's not making any excuses, because we did not play well. There's no doubt about that. But we lost to a good football team in Caldwell, who I think is going to have a tremendous year. Is undefeated at this point, and is going to have a great year. In fact, I think they have great potential to maybe go into the playoffs for the 3rd time in a short span that they've had some good football teams. As far as why we performed like we did, I guess if I knew that, I'd make sure that naturally it wouldn't happen again. But I really don't know. I felt that we had a pretty good week of preparation. I felt that we had done basically everything we could do. We just didn't play well. I feel that we really got out-quicked. We got out-hit, especially in the first half. They were just a step or two ahead of us, and we just didn't play good football on both sides of the ball. I think the biggest problem was the fact that we gave them too many opportunities to take the ball on offense because of our lack of generating any offense. And when you put the ball in the hands of a Josh Perkins 30 times, some things are going to happen that you don't want to happen. And of course, Roman Lora, their quarterback, I felt played the best game of his career. And of course, he's just a junior, but he broke our back several times by scrambling out and in key situations. So let's just hope that it doesn't happen again, but we're going to work real hard this week to try to get some of those things we didn't do last week corrected.
Coach, you mentioned that Roman Lori had a great game against us, and he did play exceptionally well. And Josh Perkins, even though he had 191 yards, you pretty much accomplished what you set out to do against him. He didn't bust any big plays. I think he only scored one touchdown. You contained him pretty well. How did you guys go about containing him so well?
Well, we want to take him out of the game as much as we could. Naturally, we didn't want him to put his hands on the ball 30 times. That was one thing we didn't accomplish. And as I mentioned, it was because our offense didn't sustain any drives and keep the ball on offense. But we worked real hard all week. We didn't want to kick the ball to him on kickoffs. We didn't want to kick the ball to him on punt returns. That did hurt us one time. We had a short punt. But we wanted to try to keep the ball in his hands as much as possible. We knew that Roman Lori was an excellent quarterback, but we didn't feel that he would do the things that he did to help beat us. But there again, sometimes we were out of position and really didn't do the job that we needed to do defensively. But I think Coach Strahl, as defensive coordinator, and the rest of the staff had a very difficult time defensing this ball club because they do a lot of things. They run out of a lot of sets. They give a lot of motion and so on and so forth. And so I feel that they did an outstanding job in the fact that they only scored really twice in the field goal, of course. But it was just one of those things that we couldn't get things going offensively.
Coach, what do you tell your team? First time they lose after a 20-game span, what do you say to your team?
Well, after the game, Jeff, naturally everyone was disappointed that we came up on the short end of the score. But I told the kids I was extremely proud of them because I thought back on several occasions where they could have folded up tents, so to speak, and basically the game could have got out of hand. It could have been a rout. They didn't do that. They showed a lot of character, especially on defense when they were on the field. They came back time and time again and stopped Caldwell when they were down in the red zone, so to speak, and could have put it in with an offensive unit that they have. The one in particular that comes to mind is after we had the bad snap on the punt. It was 16-0. At that point in time, they could have said, well, we'll just go through the motions, and they could have scored very easily. They didn't. They stuffed them at that time in the red zone, and then we took the ball over again, and again, we couldn't get things going offensively. But I think our young kids, as well as our older kids, showed a lot of character as far as defense especially was concerned, hanging in there, and even though we didn't get anything going offensively, they kept sticking and did shut them down several times.
Looks like this Caldwell-Woodsfield game is going to turn into a very good small school power in the state rival, so to speak, because they've got a young team. Somebody had said they were a year away. We've got a lot of young kids that's playing a lot of ball, and our reserve team's doing well. You don't know the score on tonight's reserve game?
No, I don't, huh?
Okay, but
if they're a year away, Jeff, maybe we ought to drop them next year. No, they do have a lot of good kids coming back. Of course, we do too. Yeah. But you're right. They have an outstanding program over there. It's a class program from the coaching staff right on down through the players. Sometimes you play those kind of teams, and they're a little bit boastful when they do some other things, but they were pretty humble as far as everything I saw from the coaching staff on down, and it's a class program. It's nice to play in those kind of games.
Well, I think there's a lot of mutual respect. I noticed at the end of the game, they were down there knocking on our door. They could have popped another one in, and it would have looked good for them. They're ranked number 6 in the state. We were ranked 6 in the state. 22-0 score is a lot more impressive than 16, but they go down on one knee. They just bowed out gracefully and showed a lot of class, and your organization's got a lot of class. It's becoming a good rivalry. We'll be right back with this week's highlights.
FW Shoemaker Insurance Agency was established in 1903 and is located at 140 North Main Street, Woodsfield. They have 3 agents and 3 customer service representatives to give you the kind of service you deserve. Being an independent insurance agency means they represent different companies, allowing them to compare for you. For all of your insurance needs, auto, home, life, bonds, business, or farms, contact FW Shoemaker Insurance Agency.
And bust one for 27 yards, steps out of bounds. Coach, could have been a touchdown over Caldwell.
Well, I was kind of pretty close along the sidelines, Jeff. It was close, but I thought he was out. And fortunately for us, they did call him out. But here he shows some great speed right here and cuts it back to the inside and, of course, takes it all the way for an early, what would have been a game backbreaker score for them.
Chris Dalrymple and Jeremy Kramer combined for a loss on this tackle.
They're down close in scoring position. They go from a double wing in motion and give to Perkins off the right side, and nice job there by Lumpy and Finn and Jeremy.
Ricky Russell picks up 12 yards on this option play. He keeps it and goes upfield.
Here we're in a slot eye left and fake inside on the option, and Ricky finds a little opening off the left side and turns it back nicely and picks up some valuable yardage.
Jonathan Caller on the stop here for no gain.
Here we're in a 40 defense, Jeff, and Jonathan does a fine job reading, stepping inside, and making a nice tackle for a no gain stop.
Jonathan Caller steps in again, this time gets Josh Perkins for a loss on this play.
Jonathan had a big series right here in itself. He does a nice job stepping up and a nice tackle before Perkins can get started at all.
Jonathan Caller turns in the third good play in a row, stopping this option play.
You know, they try an option here to their right, our left. He slightly bobbles the ball, fakes the pitch, and then Jonathan comes in and does a nice job bringing him down for minus yardage. Job there bringing him down for no yardage.
Chad Weber throws a nice block on this punt return by Chris Lynn.
And we force them, after a good series there on defense, to punt the ball away and hopefully get nice field position. They don't get a real good punt. Here Chris does a nice job fielding the ball and turning it back inside. Probably just about one block there from breaking it out into the wall, maybe going a long way.
Chris Dalrymple makes his tackle for minus yardage.
Here they're in a strong left with a wing right, and they'll bring the wingman in motion and give the ball to Shell off of the left side, but Lumpy's there to make a fine tackle.
Roman Lori puts Caldwell on the board with a 30-yard field goal.
Yeah, we did a nice job here keeping him out of the end zone after that long touchdown was called back. We had to settle. They had to settle for a field goal, which was good as far as our defense was concerned.
Ricky Russell connects with Dustin Robinson for a gain of 11 yards.
Now we're in a slot left eye formation. Rick does a nice job waiting until Dustin clears underneath and dumps the ball off to him for a nice catch.
Roman Lori rolls to his left, finds no one open, and goes 8 yards for the touchdown.
We kind of got caught inside here, Jeff, and he does a good job getting outside. He's got a guard pulling in front of him, puts the ball up like he's going to throw the ball, and of course we backed off and he took it on in for a touchdown.
From right back, Ricky hits Larry Nelson for 14 yards.
Now a slot I formation, we go with a quick out here, and Larry does a nice job picking up Ricky's pass, and then gets as much as he can get and gets out of bounds.
Shane Dunn picks up 29 yards as time is running out in the first half.
Now here we're in a position in the field where we don't want to take any chances to give them an opportunity to get the ball back, Jeff. So we shift out into a wide formation with trips to the right, thinking that they may overshift, and they loosened up quite a bit, and we give the ball to Shane up the middle on a quick trap. We got a couple nice blocks inside, and Shane cuts it back and then takes it on down to now we're in a position where we can try to go for maybe a long one.
Demmerling recovers a fumble on the 32-yard line.
It's a great opportunity here for us. Mike's in the right place at the right time, picks up a fumble, and we're in great shape here as far as field position is concerned.
Chad Weber picks up 11 yards on this carry.
After the big fumble recovery, it looks as though things are going our way here. A nice job by Chad cutting it back to the inside on a straight dive play, and then of course they get a penalty tacked on here, and it puts us in good position.
Chris Lynn makes a nice open field tackle on Roman Lori.
Here they fake the inside dive, and Roman comes out on the option, but Chris does a nice job reading it and comes up and makes a picture-perfect tackle.
Jeremy Kramer does a good job of containment on this option play.
Here Jeremy uses his hands real well and stays to the outside and does not allow him to get the corner turn, and gets help from the inside, and thus there's no gain.
Al West and Weber start the fourth quarter, stopping Perkins for no gain.
Yeah, even with his speed, he had a notion to go outside, but he tried to cut it back, and we had a lot of pursuit coming from the inside, and they do a good job of stacking him up.
Josh Perkins goes 13 yards for Caldwell's last score.
Yeah, a toss outside shows you the speed and also the looseness as he cuts back to the inside for a touchdown.
Chris Lynn shows nice second effort on this kickoff return.
And we haven't been doing a real good job on our kickoff returns. We haven't been blocking a lot of people, but here Chris does a nice job of bringing it up the middle and showing that second effort right here, not going down after the first contact.
On Chad Weber combined to stop on this fourth down play.
On the option again, Lori comes to the right and hangs on to the ball. We got a lot of people around a fourth down play, which, like I mentioned earlier, after a bad snap, We could have given up and they could have taken it easy, but we shut them.
At SCS Sales, friendly service and customer satisfaction is our goal. We give tune-ups and engine diagnosis done with Bear Automotive Analysis Systems. Our vast automotive knowledge gives you the best in service for your transmissions, air conditioning, brakes, and brake drums. Get complete engine service with valve jobs, cam and bearing installation, and complete engine overhauls. We also pressure check and Magnaflux heads. We stock interstate batteries and specialize in refacing rotors, clutch replacement, and oil changes. For all your automotive needs, call STS Sales.
Yes, Chris Lynn. Chris, you had 10 tackles, 1 CBL, 4 unassisted tackles, had a couple nice kickoff returns, punt returns. And Chris, playing in the secondary, when you guys were preparing this week, were you worried about Josh Perkins possibly being a threat as far as pass receiver?
Yes, from some of the films that we watched, we could tell and we picked up that he was a valuable receiver coming out of the backfield, just out into the flats, maybe 10 yards down the field, and once he gets in the open, he has the ability to do just about anything.
Yes, that he does. You're playing in the starting backfield. You're starting a halfback this year. Last year you played just in the secondary pretty much. What's it like being a starter in the backfield? Do you enjoy running the ball?
I haven't had much opportunity to run the ball this year, but I'm in there and I'm going to carry out my blocking assignments to do the best to spring the team, because scoring is the thing that we need to do, and we haven't been able to do it this year, so I hope we can start on a right foot this season.
Yes, everybody definitely has to pull together and do all their responsibilities. You're not that big. You return punts, return kickoffs, and over the last couple of years, I've noticed on the sidelines some of our best shots, whether it's been you getting hit or you giving some hits, and you've been involved in them. How do you feel about running back kickoffs and punts? Do you enjoy it?
I enjoy it. It's an exciting thing. Sometimes you don't always do what you want to do, but when you break that big one, it's just a great feeling, because everybody's pulling for you, and it's just a great feeling.
Okay. Chris, how do you think that the loss is going to affect the team?
I think it'll help us out a lot. We got some pressure off of us. We don't have to worry about the win streak anymore, although we still want to win. But it'll bring out the fear, the fight in us, the fierceness, and we can just go out and play regular football. We don't have to worry about any added pressure or press.
Okay. Coach, your comments about Chris?
Well, Chris got a lot of valuable experience last year in the defensive secondary, and so we're counting on him and a couple other people there for leadership in the secondary, and so far he's done a nice job. We have faced a couple pretty nice quarterbacks, and it's nice to know you have someone in the secondary that knows what to do and has that experience. He also, as you saw in the clips, he came up several times. And one thing we found out early on in Chris's career when he was a freshman, that even though he's not very big, that he's a very aggressive young man, and he'll come up and he'll stick you with everything he has. And then, of course, as he mentioned, he hasn't gotten the opportunity to run the ball a lot on offense this year, but he still served a valuable purpose on the offensive unit as far as blocking and running various fakes and doing various things on offense. So, again, we're looking for his leadership in the secondary and hope that he does some bigger and better things in the future.
Okay. Chris, I want to thank you for coming on the show and wish you good luck Friday against Fort Fry. We'll be right back with Jonathan Caller. Jonathan had a good game Friday. You had 15 tackles, 3 CBLs, and 6 unassisted tackles. And the week before you had a real strong game for us. You played middle linebacker, which is pretty much one of the toughest positions on the defense. You got to defend against the run, the pass, and just pretty much be a quarterback on the field. How tough is it playing middle linebacker?
Well, I have to watch for everything, so I gotta make my choice what I'm going to do really early. And I just look over the offense at first and look what set they're in and try to figure out what they're going to do before they do it, and then I just use my instincts and go after the ball.
Okay. You and Stephen Powell, you guys are both filling some big shoes, Steve Shoemaker and Mike Linehauser. Has there been a lot of pressure, seemed like, on the guys because of that?
No, I found it to be really great help, because last year I had to watch both of them play. Got to watch what they do, and they told me things to watch for and things to do. I think it made me really a lot better at linebacker. watching them.
Good. We were, all week, it seemed like everybody was pretty much worried about Caldwell's skill people, running backs, quarterback, etc. But it seemed like our line did a good job against us. Were they pretty physical?
Well, yeah, they pretty much took it to our line. They weren't great, they weren't real good, but they were aggressive, and they wanted to go out and play, and they wanted to hit hard. So they pretty much took it to us.
Okay. Will you guys bounce back this Friday against Fort Fry?
Yeah, I think they will. They say a great football player has a short-term memory, and I think we'll have one, and we should do really good.
Good. Good. Coach, your comments?
Well, you know, Jonathan's playing a position, as you said, is not a real easy position to play because not only do you have to stop the run inside, but you have to be able to pursue laterally and take away things like the option. You saw him do a fine job doing that earlier on the clips. And you also have some pass responsibility and also defend against the draws and the screens. So there's quite a bit to be thinking about. And this is Jonathan's first full year in varsity action, and I've seen a tremendous amount of improvement from the beginning of the season in our scrimmages, and I think he had his finest game to date against Caldwell this past week. And I just expect Jonathan, as he gets more experience, to get better and better and better each week. Again, like Chris, Jonathan was one that we found out early on when he was a freshman that he would hit people. There's no doubt about that. But it was just a matter of getting some experience and some playing time. And as I said, I think he'll do a better job with each week to come.
Okay. Jonathan, I want to thank you for being on the show. We'll wish you good luck Friday against Fort Fry. We'll be right back with Jay's scouting report on Fort Fry.
That's on TV6!
Yeah. We've been pretty successful against Fort Fry in our overall series. It's 16 wins for us, 4 losses. But we've had some very memorable games against them, some very close games. They've always been a very tough opponent, and I don't think anyone will forget last year's nail-biter that we had. When's the last time that Fort Fry has been able to beat us, Coach? You recall?
It was 1985. They beat us 12-0, Jeff. So it's been a while. But as you mentioned, you know, there have been a lot of close ball games. You know, I can remember down there 7-0. We had to score late in the ball game to win. And, you know, there's been a lot of close games. As you mentioned, you don't have to go back that far, just last year, and we had to win by a field goal with a good football team to beat them. In fact, they played the best game of the whole season last year against us, and we have to anticipate that they're going to be up and possibly do the same thing this year.
Oh, sure, because that's probably one sticking in their craw because, you know, their season could have been completely changed if they'd have beat us last year. So, you know, they'll be up for us, no doubt. Even though, Coach, they're 0-4, we can't afford to take them lightly. You know, we're let down at all this week, can't we?
No, that's for sure. They've played some good football in spite of not winning any ball games yet this year, but we can't let down, not for 1 second. And we still basically, the theme this week is that we've told our young people that we still have something to prove, and that is we have to establish a consistency in our offense and be able to put some points on the board.
Okay, Coach, who have they played so far?
Well, so far, Jeff, as you can see, they are 0-4, and they've played, started out by playing Southern, and they lost the first game of the year. They came back and lost to, as you know, a very strong Bishop Donahue team who's undefeated. They also lost in the third week to Warren Local, who is a very strong football team in a big school. And then this past week they lost to Zanesville Rosecrans, but they did show much improvement over their previous 3 ball games. So even though they are 0-4, we can look for a tough ball game against them this Friday night.
Okay, Coach, you've had a chance to scout them, look some films at them. What do you expect from them offensively?
Well, offensively, you can look for, unless they change things this week from the previous 3 weeks, you can look for what we call pro-eye set. Now, by pro-eye set, you'll see this is their tight end in this position right here, and this is their flanker back, and this is their split end over here. And they've been in that formation quite a bit, pro right, and they'll flip it over, moving the tight end to this side, split end over here, flanker over here, and go into a pro left eye set. So we're anticipating they're going to do this again. As far as their personnel offensively, they have a quarterback, number 9, Chad Huck. He's a junior, and as you'll see, a lot of these kids are younger kids. So they did graduate a lot of seniors last year, and they returned some younger people, and so you can expect them to get better each week. Their fullback is a hard-running boy, number 13, Daryl Brooker. He's also a junior. And their tailback, who was their tailback last year, Shane Burchett, he's also a junior, number 33. This young man over here probably possesses as good a speed as anybody they have. Bob Carney, who's a sophomore, number 21, who lines up the split end position. And we won't be surprised if we even see him somewhere in the backfield, because he did have a good game against Zanesville Rosecrans and showed some speed. So they're not a team that probably throws the ball an awful lot, but they're a team that tries to establish the run. So we're going to have to play it tough up front and shut down the run. You'll see them out of this formation run what we call isolation series, where they'll lead the fullback in one way or the other and follow with the tailback. They'll also run a little quick trap. And by quick trap, if it would happen to be in a 50 defense right here, this is we're talking about a quick trap. They'll try to trap either one of our tackles by doubling our nose guard and pulling the guard and trapping our tackle and run this fullback up in here real quick. They've had a lot of success with that over the years at Fort Fry, and that seems to be one of the plays they really like. So we'll have to stop that. We'll have to stop the isolation, and we'll have to stop any kind of sweeps, or they even run a reverse now and then with this young man here, since he's got good speed. So that's what we can look for offensively, Jeff.
Okay, Coach, defensively, do you expect probably the same defense that they've run for years down there?
Well, we're going to see the 4-4 defense, the 40 defense again, and that's what they've been running. I think probably different in past years, because they have a different defensive coordinator. We might not see as much of a lot of people real tight on the line of scrimmage. Of course, as sure as I say that, they'll probably do that. But at least in the first 4 ball games, they played a 40 pretty straight. And by pretty straight, I mean just like we've been looking at it against Shadyside and St. John's, and also this past week against Caldwell. The liner down tackles is about the same position, and their ends in the same position. Their inside linebackers and linebackers in the same setup. Now, some people to look for inside here. This young man here, the right defensive down tackle, is a nice football player, number 77, Ron Sexton. He's also a junior, 5'8", 195. And as you notice, they got some good size inside here. Their left down tackle was number 57, Joby Popmar, one of their biggest kids, 6'2", 260. He is a senior. Their inside linebackers, number 33, Shane Burchett, their tailback on offense, 5'8", 175, and he's a junior. Very sound football player defensively. And the other inside linebacker, Daryl Brooker, 6 foot, 190, a junior. And, of course, he was their fullback. He's the other inside linebacker. So we're going to have to get the job done up front and try to establish that running game, which we haven't done with consistency so far this year, if we're going to be successful Friday night.
Okay, Coach, well, we look to get back on the winning track Friday. I want to thank you for coming. Good luck Friday night. This is Jeff Waddell along with Jay Circosta for Woodsfield Sports Highlights.